Hello, this is going to be a very quick video today on why I think the Honda CB500 Range are some of the best bikes you can buy today on the market. So let's start off with number one. First reason is just how agile this bike is to ride. It's very, very nimble. It turns in nicely, certainly on those PR5 tyres there. And it's just generally a fun bike to ride, quite engaging as well, which is something which some bikes miss these days. It's actually quite nice to ride this bike, even going up through the gears, and you just really feel part of the ride on this bike, which is a nice thing. Second reason is that engine. That engine is time served. It's known as being a Bulletproof, very strong engine, very reliable, very refined and smooth, and it creates good power low down at the rev range, and also a decent amount of torque as well down low, which is exactly what you need for road riding. So that engine is beautifully made, very refined. Third reason why I think these bikes are some of the best on the market, the tyres now come with the Michelin Pilot Road 5s, which are very, very good in the dry and excellent in the wet as well. And apparently they're good on track as well. So the tyres are brilliant. When you get this bike straight out the showroom, on previous models, one of the things which you wanted to do, a bit like on my 2017 Honda NC750X, they come out the door with tyres which are just average, whereas these tyres here stick very, very well indeed in any conditions. So if you're a new rider, you can have all the confidence in the world on these tyres. Fourth reason is on the 2022 models onwards, they now come with the dual disc, which is literally twice the braking that you get on these bikes now. Very, very good indeed. Not to mention the ABS itself is very well set up. Honda's ABS is some of the best ABS systems which I use. So how do I know that? Well, what I always do with my test rides is I always anchor on and try and lock up the rear and the front of the with the wheels and tyres. Why do I do that? I just want to see how quick and how the ABS reacts in difficult emergency situations. Now, on cheaper bikes that I've ridden in the past, you'll find that the ABS is doesn't kick in quick enough, or it still locks up the wheel, and then, you know, just for a second, just for a blip, which is all it takes to wash out the front sometimes if you're not experienced. And it's basically how the ABS reacts is the important thing. And on all Hondas that I've ridden, the ABS has always been absolutely 100% spot on every time. It comes in at the right time. It doesn't come in too much either. So you sometimes with some bikes you anchor on and it locks up, but it still feels like it's not stopping properly. But with the Honda ABS, they've got it absolutely very, very well fine-tuned. Now, as a city bike, you will be clutching in all the time, whether you're at the lights or going up and down the gears, stop starting all the time. And having a light clutch is very, very important. Very, very light clutch. And not only that, but it also bites in a nice place as well. So I would say that you probably bring it out to about there, and that's where it starts to bite. And it's just perfect. Very smooth engagement of the gearbox to the back wheel. So again, that's very important for all sorts of different riding. Next reason why I think these bikes are so good is just the actual build quality. Now, we all know that Hondas have always got good build quality, but what I mean by that is the parts that they use, the metals that they use. Now, I'm no expert, I'm not claiming to be an expert in metals, but what I can tell you is that the parts that are used for this are all proper, very hard, strong metals, as opposed to the soft metals that you get on some bikes. So again, these bikes can easily see, you know, in at times over 100,000 miles, as long as it's serviced properly, of course, and all that goes with that. But they can easily do over 100,000 miles, and again, that's just testament to the build quality of the machine parts on this bike. Next reason is the styling is always very nice on these bikes, whether it's the angled headlight or even the fuel tank is nicely shaped. The wavy discs on the front and the rear, the exhaust, which gives you a nice burble on downshifts. It's just all nicely angled. There's no sort of blandness about it. It's just an interesting bike to look at. Also, this tail tidy, which normally on some Hondas can look really bulbous and really big, like a My 300, it used to come right out here, but they've really put a bit of attention to detail on that. They've made this tail tidy so nice, and you know, with the metal there, you wouldn't, I personally wouldn't want to change it. I expect a lot of people would, but I could live with that quite happily. Next reason, which does surprise me a bit actually for Honda, no disrespect to them, but they're terrible for making bikes with uncomfortable seats, but this seat is really quite nice. It looks quite thin, but it is actually well padded underneath there, and also it doesn't slope down too much, pushing you towards the tank, so it's comfortable for probably 3 or 4 hour stints, which is good for a Sunday ride out, and or just you know big commutes, longer commutes. Next reason is the suspension, which surprises me a little bit really for a bike at this price point. The front suspension is absolutely fantastic. It really is very good indeed, certainly with these knee dual bending valves that they've put in the forks there. One day I might find out what that actually means. I don't really know what it is, but I know that it works well. And surprisingly, the rear suspension is good as well, which again, for a bike that's on a budget really, it's pretty excellent really for around town. No crashiness about it or anything. It's just really a nice setup there. Very, very nice indeed. Right, so overall the CB500 Range is just a well-rounded bike altogether, and it ticks a lot of boxes and does a lot of things very well, and what it doesn't do so well, it does good enough. And the last reason I think these bikes are some of the best commuters or bikes around is just its usability. It's totally universal. It's got a bit of something for all sorts of different riders, whether you're new to riding or whether you've been riding for years and just want something to hoot around on. This does a bit of everything. It's got a bit of fun factor if you want to give it a bit of welly, or if you just want to commute, it does that well as well. So that's it. That's just some of the points that I think are outstanding about the CB500 Range. Now, all that being said, I know that in the past I've had my issues with the CB500X and the way it was mapped. Apparently the 2022 model has been mapped differently, so it'd be interesting to try it, but I don't want to sort of contradict myself, but I just wanted to let you know some of the finer points, and I say some of the outstanding points about the CB500 Range. And let's face it, that's why it's been selling so well for all these years. But thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you Sunday at 4 PM. Thanks for watching.